Hey everyone, welcome back to the Going Zero Waste YouTube channel. I'm Kathryn Kellogg, and today we're going to talk about 4 ways to save the world. So you might have seen last week there was an article that came out. There was a paper that was published by the UN. There have been many articles that have come out since then saying that basically we have about a little over a decade to reverse the amount of carbon emissions that are currently going into the atmosphere, or else we're going to reach catastrophic levels of damage to our planet. Not exactly the most uplifting article that any of us wanted to read, but I want to talk about a few ways that we can be effective advocates for the planet. And articles like that do a really good job of making us feel isolated. They make us feel alone. We often look at our closest friends and family and say, wow, even if our closest friends and family aren't joining me and living a more eco-friendly lifestyle, then what hope do I have for the rest of the planet? They make you feel obviously very depressed, and feeling a lot of those emotions can really prevent us from going forward and creating true lasting change. So first of all, I just want to encourage you and say, like, hey, guess what? There are a ton of other people that are working for a cleaner and greener planet. And so I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to feel like you have hope. And one of my favorite books of all time is Drawdown, and I would highly recommend reading it. I will leave it down below with a link. But one of the best quotes by Paul Hawken is when you first open up the book, the first thing it says, or at the end of the foreword, let me rephrase, at the end of the foreword it says, "This isn't game over, it's game on." So I want you to feel encouraged, and I want you to feel like it is something that we can do, because it's totally something we can do. And I'm gonna give you 4 ways to really harness that positive energy and use what you're feeling into a positive direction and to something that will create positive lasting change. So the 4 main ways, we really need all 4 pieces of this puzzle, so to speak, to be moving at the exact same time. And that's gonna be politicians, it's gonna be businesses, it's going to be organizations and groups, and then individuals. And every single one of us have an important part to play. Right now, recently, I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, individual action isn't gonna save the world, blah, 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 and they're like really down on individual action. But the fact of the matter is that policy and businesses cannot react without the general public. I was attending a seminar that someone was talking, Californians Against Waste, which is a lobbyist group here in California. And they said individuals must first act so business and policy can react. And I think that is so incredibly important. We cannot dilute our part of the message and just blame businesses. Obviously, not saying businesses aren't at fault, because they totally are. 100 companies produce around 71% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. So obviously that is a huge thing, but we have to show them that there's demand for them to do better. We have to show them that we want to live in a better, cleaner, and greener world where there's not a ton of catastrophic damage. Who wants a whole bunch of catastrophic damage? No one. No one does. So a few of the things that you can do in your daily life. And of course, please let me know if you want more videos expounding on any of these different topics. Let me know in the comment section down below. But if a few of the things that we can start doing, carpool more, try and use our cars less. A rule that I've personally implemented for myself is if it's under a 30-minute walking distance, then I'm going to walk. So opting for walking or biking. See if there's different initiatives maybe that you can implement around the office that you work at. Maybe do a carpool sheet so people can sign up. Eat more plants in your diet. That's a great way to help out, is really opt for really plant-forward meals, if not trying to go vegetarian, or even having full days where you don't eat any animal products at all, where you're eating fully plant-based, or that's another super great way to help out the planet. And then, of course, implementing other zero-waste lifestyle things, like bringing your own bags to the grocery store, getting your cup in the cafe, like sit and enjoy it in a real mug. Enjoy your coffee or your tea, or bring your own thermos. You don't have to go super extreme, but just really consciously thinking about the things that you're buying, simply buying less, opting for secondhand. There are so many small changes that we can make. And then of course we have to use our voice beyond that, which goes into activism. There are so many things that we can do in our daily lives to help get others involved. So some of my favorite ways, most people don't really understand how to get others involved without sounding preachy or like a terrible person that no one wants to hang out with. So there's definitely a great way that you can bridge that gap. And so some ideas are to screen a documentary at the local community center, call your library, try and host a talk. Once you've mastered some of these kind of more simple steps, you can really share it with the public and share it with your community. Most people don't understand what they do is a problem. A lot of people don't even understand there's a problem, let alone that they're connected to the problem, because we are all connected to the problem. Everyone's connected to the problem. And so by creating classes that have a lot of really good information and creating a place that people can come and learn in a really open environment is great, because nagging someone just does not work. You cannot just like be at the grocery store and be like, don't use those plastic bags, those are terrible for the environment, blah, 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 blah. No one wants to be your friend if you do that. No one wants to join you. So instead, try and create really educational environments that are positive and uplifting. Maybe you rent out a stand at your local farmer's market and you help educate people about bringing their own bags, or maybe you even sell bags really cheap, or you get together and you make them with friends and you can share them with the community in that way. Maybe you want to host a cleanup. And I have resources on that. And another really important part, of course, is telling businesses what you want. So maybe that's forming petitions, or maybe that's just emailing local businesses about their packaging, or about their straw usage, or about something else. And I have templates for that, which I will also leave down below. And one important part of that is once you start doing these groups, and once you start being an active member in your community, you start meeting like-minded community members. And that also helps remove that feeling of loneliness, especially when you have a local community that really understands what you're trying to do. And then with that local community, you can also start petitioning your local government. So one of the best things you can do is vote. Please vote. We have an election coming up very soon, so please double check, make sure that you're registered, show up to your polling place, bring a friend, volunteer to take someone else, get people to the polls. It's so, so important. And of course, you can always just run for office. I think a lot of people tend to rule that out, but it's always a possibility. So if you feel really passionately, don't count yourself out of the ring. Run for office. Any office, even smaller government. You know, I serve on a local board and commission group for my city, and it's a lot of fun, and I've gotten to really intimately see how local government works, which is so incredibly important. And honestly, it's a lot easier to get involved than you might think. I would like for you to Google your city, and then afterwards Google boards and commissions. So if you live in Little Rock, Arkansas, you go Google Little Rock boards and commissions, and a whole bunch of commissions are going to pop up. And you can actually go to them. They typically have city council liaisons, and you can craft legislation with them to put before the city council, something that the whole city can vote on, which is awesome. Because if you have all of these little governments or these little cities doing things, then it's going to inspire larger change. An excellent example is the bag ban in California. So all of these tiny little cities created bag bans, and then it became such a headache that the grocery stores advocated for a plastic bag ban that was the same throughout the entire state, because it made their lives easier. So if you have enough smaller governments moving, then the bigger government is going to create standardized legislation that will then be impacted for all of the cities, even the ones that didn't wind up joining in. And so it's just so important. I'm so passionate. And if you feel passionately like I do about local government, then you should absolutely be finding candidates that resonate with you and making sure that you're phone banking for them or canvassing for them, and making sure that this is something that's important. I have totally phone banked, I have totally canvassed, especially if there's even a proposition that you're really passionate about. Get involved. Another great way to get involved is with the lobby group Citizens Climate Lobby. They've been around for quite a while. I'm not sure the exact date, but basically they're advocating for a carbon tax, and it's such a great organization. I've been a member, but it helps get you in touch with your local representatives, because something that is important is emailing or calling or even setting up face-to-face meetings with your representatives and truly telling them what you want. And they help organize those people that are really interested in the climate and a carbon tax. And a carbon tax is something that we definitely need. It will tax businesses based on the amount of carbon that they put into the air, and it will have some really good benefits. I will link more about the Citizens Climate Lobby if you want to know more. Please look into joining. So yes, contact your representatives, get involved, vote. There are so many things that we can do as individuals on the political level, which leads me into my last, which is donating to groups and organizations. So groups and organizations play a vital role in this as well. If we are feeling lonely, if we are feeling alone and scared kind of in the face of this information, then I think it's important that we do turn to these groups who have been doing amazing work for years, and we can donate them, we can donate to them, we can support them. And even if maybe we can't make financial investments right now, there are a lot of other things we can do with these groups and organizations, like just sharing their information, sharing it on social media, taking parts in their campaigns. Oftentimes they'll run campaigns and they might have hashtags, and you can participate in those campaigns and follow them and comment on their stuff and just be actively involved with them in that way. And also email them, just email and say, I love what you're doing. Currently, I can't financially support you. How else can I support you? So I just want to talk about a couple of the organizations that I really like supporting. Drawdown by Paul Hawken, the World Wildlife Fund, the Sierra Club, Oceana, Earth Justice, the Rainforest Alliance, and there's one more, and the Environmental Defense Fund. So those are all 7. I will link all of them down below. Please go check them out, see if there's a way that you can support them. So just to recap, because this has been such a long video, thank you for staying with me. 4 things. There are 4 things, which is individual action. My whole blog is based around individual action. These are all things that we can implement into our daily lives to try and make the world a better place. And maybe we can't implement all of them, and that's totally fine, but just getting started. And then it's taking that knowledge that we learned as individuals and then spreading it beyond ourselves, which leads us into activism. And this is community activism, and it's so important to get involved in our local communities and truly try and share these messages and share the things that we've learned. And then once we find and create this group of like-minded people, it's about taking that group and then getting involved in political action. And so that can be getting involved in our local governments. This is, of course, taking it even to the federal level. How can we get involved? And a lot of that also leads to groups and organizations which we can donate to, who then in turn also help to influence policy to make and create a better world for all of us. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you'd like for me to expound on any of these topics and create longer videos focusing solely on them. I hope that you're gonna walk away from this video feeling empowered. I hope you walk away from this video feeling like there are so many things that you can do to make a difference, because truly there are so many things you can do to create change. And I hope that you really feel like you can go out and create some change and do it, and that would be awesome. Please let me know down below. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, or press the subscribe button or smash the bell to be notified when those new videos are coming out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a new video.